My name is Bafana Mahlabe, also known as Lookout Mabaso within MK ranks as a Commissar of Umkhonto weSizwe. Basically, I am representing the MKMVA structure, which was part of the conference that took place in East London, which was supposed to be a unity conference. However, we came to realize that what happened there at East London was actually a shame in a sense, because it wasn't a unity conference as anticipated and as per the resolution of the 54th National Conference of the ANC in Nasrec 2017, which stated that the ANC must assist the community of MK veterans to unite towards a unity conference. And that resolution actually has been wrongly implemented, because the politics of factionalism within the ANC became the center of the process that happened at East London. The reason why we're raising these matters, it is because MKMVA is a legitimate structure which has got a persona and legal standing. That means that as an entity, we have our own constitution, we've got our own membership, we've got our own assets. And our constitution is very clear: for anything to happen within the ranks of MKMVA, like for instance disbandment, the constitution says 7 provinces out of 9 must agree that MKMVA must be disbanded, and MKMVA can only be disbanded by itself and nobody else. So as disciplined cadres of the movement, we had actually enjoyed a process of engagement that was started by the then Peace and Stability Chairperson, Comrade Tony Ngeni, under the instruction of the NWC and the NEC. A process had already gone so far that we were ready to go to conference until we were hit by COVID-19 disaster management, and the process had to be suspended. So when we went to East London, we actually thought that finally we are at a point where we're going to unite. However, it became clear that the NEC members that came to that conference and to oversee the process were actually one-sided, they were factional, they did not assist the process altogether. Amongst other things, they brought in a new constitution under the name of MKMVO, which is MK Military Veterans Organization, something that we do not know what it is. And this document was actually presented by one of the elders or the veteran, Comrade Maharaj, with the assistance of Ronnie Casseres and others. And in that team, it became clear that they were actually changing the mandate of the resolution of conference of the ANC. So in fact, ANC, it's actually in contempt of their own resolution, because the resolution of conference didn't say they must form a new structure altogether. They were forming a new structure called MKMVO, of which that conference ultimately agreed to the name of MK Liberation Struggle Veterans. And we are saying, for starters, they elected an interim committee that is going to lead that structure for 2 years. And they also said they've adopted that document, which is not a constitution, but a guiding principle document, to be their guiding document for the next 2 years. So it means you are saying MKMVA affairs must be in abeyance for a period of 2 years, whilst we have a situation where our members are struggling, our members are destitute, our members are dying every day. And in the interim, we are saying their services must be suspended, because remember, we are actually functioning within the legal prescripts of the country, and we are guided by the Act, the Department of Defense, the Military Veterans Act. And the Military Veterans Act is clear. There are member associations, there are 8 of them. MKMVA is one of the founding member association of the South African Military Veterans Association. Therefore, it means any military veterans entity that wants to service its members must then apply through that process to be a member of SANVA, and that SANVA becomes an entity that works under the Department of Military Veterans, established by the Director General in terms of the law. Now, the challenge is that we as MKMVA, we believe that whatever processes that are there to unite MK combatants, it's welcomed. We actually don't have a problem with the unity of military veterans, but we have a problem when that process is done in a very factional way that does not unite us and that does not respond to what were the issues in the first instance. Because we must remember that from the beginning, MK National Council, when it was established, it was actually a parallel structure to MKMVA, to which one of the biggest mistakes that was done by the leadership of the ANC was to endorse and entertain a parallel structure, which was unprecedented, by the way. So where we are now, we took a decision as MKMVA that the status quo remains with us. We are going to continue to function as MKMVA, and we'll continue to address the issues of our cadres within the structures of MKMVA. As a matter of fact, we are going to roll out a program of visiting all our provinces in the country, where we're going to have provincial general councils, ultimately have a national general council that will lead us to a proper, democratic, constituted national conference of MKMVA.
So when you're saying that processes like the Unity Conference are done in a factionalist manner.
Yes, definitely.
The current leadership of the NEC and the Department of Military Veterans have this week made claims that the whole purpose of the Unity Conference was achieved, and that all parallel military structures of MK are united now under one banner.
We are putting it on record that it's a blue lie. It's a narrative that seeks to confuse the public out there. And our members are very resolute on the fact that we are not going to be allowed to be captured, because I think one of the biggest challenges is that MKMVA has been drawn into the factional politics of the ANC. And we can see what is happening, because in that meeting of East London, to our dismay, more than 10 high-powered NEC members who are belonging to a faction, actually, of CR17, were descended on that space. And we could see that this thing is actually a factionally driven project, to swallow us and silence us. I mean, every structure within the ANC is disbanded. ANC Women's League, Youth League, there is nothing that is not disbanded in the ANC. Now they want to bring in that fold MKMVA, and MKMVA is the only structure that is standing currently, and standing not on factional basis, but standing on a principle. We were taught by the movement, we were trained by the movement, and we are saying we support the African National Congress. We are disciplined members of the African National Congress, but we are not going to allow ourselves to be consumed into the factional politics of the ANC.
So when you label this is factionalism,
yes.
Do you think that this was a move to somehow capture the
MKMVA? Definitely. That's what we believe. It was a move to capture MKMVA, because they know very well that all these other structures have been neutralized. We don't have the Youth League in the ANC currently. It has been disbanded, and they keep on changing interim structures. It's the Women's League. Every structure within the ANC is disbanded, except the NEC itself. And we can see that there is something that is wrong that is happening in the organization currently. People are being pushed to a corner where they must fear, they can't speak out. It is un-ANC. There is a culture that is being driven to say, if you don't do this, we'll do that. If you don't do this, we'll do that. So we as MKMVA were very clear that we joined this organization voluntarily, and we are diehards of this organization. We love the ANC, but at the same time, we're not going to be silenced in terms of what is wrong. Wrong is wrong regardless of who does it.
What is it about the current official structure of MKMVA that seems to be a problem for the ANC and the current leadership?
Yeah, basically, we will put it out there. There is this notion that MKMVA, it's a private army of Jacob Zuma. It's a narrative of the Western media, to label MKMVA as a private army of Jacob Zuma, just because we supported NTZ towards 2017. I think that is the basis of all this confusion, that MKMVA was very vocal that towards 2017 we supported NTZ, and it was our leadership preference. There is no crime in supporting Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma towards conference. And now, because we're supporting Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, we are still being treated with that kind of attitude, the attitude that says you did not support CR17. I mean, we are not obligated to support CR17. Every member of the ANC has got a democratic right to elect and be elected for. So it was our preference at the time. And by the way, something very strange is that we don't understand why they are treating us like this, because after Nazareth was concluded and Comrade President Cyril Ramaphosa won the elections, MKMVA issued a statement under its leadership, the late Comrade President Kevin Pat, may his soul rest in peace. We actually congratulated him to say, congratulations for winning the elections. But the treatment that came out of that process is the treatment that says MKMVA must be dealt with, because that's what we've experienced for all these years up to this point.
And lastly, but as a representative of MKMVA, what was the desired outcome of last week's conference for the MKMVA?
Well, our desired outcome for that process was an elective conference, because conference is conference. You contest and you get contested. That's what the conference is about. And secondly, when we went to that conference, MKMVA is the only legal entity within the ranks of military veterans or ex-combatants of Umkhonto weSizwe. We are registered, we are recognized by SANVA and DMV because we met all the requirements that were supposed to be met in terms of legal framework. So when we went there, we thought that there was going to be amendments done on the Constitution towards the process of unity. We thought there was going to be thorough engagements that would then deal with issues of why did we come to a point where we were at conference. The other issue was, how do you go to conference where everything is hidden to you and it's only exposed at the point of conference? For instance, I'll explain this to you. When we arrived at the conference, or when the conference started, we only received the draft constitution that was presented by Mak Maharaj. We've never seen that document before. We only heard about it the first time when Mak Maharaj was presenting it, supported by Ronnie Caceres and the other team members. Two, the discussion documents for conference, we only saw them at that point of conference when it was starting. Now, I mean, it's not difficult for you to can make your own deductions to say this was a predetermined process. And it's not rocket science for you to figure it out that a certain process was determined and it had to be delivered. And Comrade David Mahlabe, as a member of the NEC of the ANC, he was leading that conference. And we brought it to his attention to say, Comrade Mahlabe, how you dealing with this meeting is problematic, because for starters, this is an MKMVA conference, but you are running it as if it's your conference. You want to dictate to us what we must do, how we must do things, and all of that. But we saw that the man came with a mandate and he had to deliver a mandate. So, there was nothing that we could do to persuade him otherwise, because he had to deliver that, making sure that by the time we leave there, MKMVA is consumed, it's disorganized, it's disrupted, and it's neutralized. And we did not give them that. That is why we are standing here today and are saying no one is going to take our MKMVA from us. Not even the ANC, by the way, because even legally speaking, ANC did not have the right to disband us. We are not a league of the ANC. We are an association. And if you care to check, go and check the constitution of the ANC. There is no structure called MKMVA in the constitution of the ANC. There is ANC with its structures. There is ANC Women's League, there is ANC Youth League, there is ANC Veterans League. There is no MKMVA. We had links with ANC simply because it's a historical thing, to say MKMVA historically it's linked to the African National Congress because it's a product of a revolutionary process that was led by the African National Congress. And we recognize that in our constitution we say you can't be a member of MK without being the member of the ANC from a revolutionary and historical point of view. But in terms of legalities, ANC cannot disband MKMVA. By the way, they only disbanded us through a media statement. We haven't even received a letter up to today. As we speak, you can even ask them, take time and ask them, where's the letter where you're disbanding MKMVA and what process did you follow to disband them? And what legal basis do you have to disband MKMVA?
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.